Hey guys, what's up? It's the Snake Dude 1814 here, and new year, new reptile room tour, lots of updates. So this is gonna be a long video. Grab your popcorn, your favorite reptile that you keep, and sit back and enjoy. So, as many of you guys know, I don't really do reptile room tours monthly. Mainly because not a lot happens in my personal reptile collection where I need to do a monthly update on everything. However, in the past few months, a lot has changed, so it is definitely time for a reptile room tour. Now, of course, I will answer a lot of the commonly asked questions on each reptile as I go through them. However, I figured why not start out with my favorite reptile in the collection, and that would be Hash, my classic corn snake or my wild type corn snake. So he's one of 3 corn snakes I currently have. The oldest snake in my collection, actually, at 13 years old this fall of 2019. In terms of Hash's setup, being an adult corn snake, I have him in a 40-gallon Zilla critter cage. This habitat is 3 feet long, 18 inches deep, and 16 inches tall. I am primarily heating him via a under tank heat pad. I believe it is a Zilla 40-gallon size, which is perfect for this size terrarium, and that is regulated with a Zilla 1000 watt temperature controller. For lighting, I don't do heat lamps for corn snakes anymore. I used to keep corn snakes with basking heat. However, with the rise and a larger collection in the reptile room, I did find that my corn snake habitats would overheat if I provided both belly heat and basking heat. So now Hash's primary source of heat is his heat pad for belly heat, while the rest of his habitat stays at a nice toasty ambient of about 77 degrees Fahrenheit. For lighting on his habitat, I'm using a 30-inch ProSol fixture by Zilla. I'm using 2 out of the 6 outlets for 5% UVB bulbs. While snakes do not need UVB in captivity, there are a lot of articles out there showing that they do benefit from it. Unless you're keeping something like an albino corn snake, I'd be cautious just due to the lack of pigmentation. But if you've got a single pet snake, throw on a UVB bulb on there, it'll benefit them. If you follow me on Instagram at SnakeDude1814, I'll leave a link in the description below. You can see all the photos I post of Hash in particular basking and enjoying his UVB bulb. So that is the update on Hash. He's thriving under my care, and at 13 years old, he definitely appears to have more years to go in the long run. Moving on from Hash, we can go on to my next corn snake, Vegas. Now, what's interesting about Vegas is that he is actually the twin brother to Hash. A lot of people don't know this, and I always like to say it in my video, but when I received them both as my first pet reptiles, I was told they were from the same clutch of eggs, and from the looks of it, they are. The main difference that you will see with Hash compared to Vegas is the fact that Vegas is much larger than Hash, and so when I took both of them into the vet to get a little checkup done, the vet told me Hash was a genetic runt. And I find this very interesting because 2 brothers, twins in fact, from the same clutch of eggs can be completely different. In terms of Vegas though, not much has changed. As of this video, he's currently in shed. However, habitat-wise, it's working perfectly for him. If you guys recall from a video a while back, I won a 40-gallon Zilla front opening terrarium from Herpers TV, which is now the Reptile channel and Dave Kaufman Vlogs, I believe. It's a 40-gallon, just like Hash's terrarium, with a little bit of extra height. So it is 3 feet long, 1.5 feet deep, and 20 inches tall. It offers front opening access, which I really enjoy. It makes maintenance a lot easier. It really is a well-designed glass terrarium, perfect for reptiles. If you're upgrading any of your reptiles at home, whether they're tropical, temperate, or desert, I highly recommend Zilla front opening terrariums. They are really some of the best on the market. In terms of heating Vegas, I'm doing the exact same method as I am with Hash, a 40-gallon Zilla heat pad underneath, and that heat pad is regulated by a 500-watt Zilla temperature controller. Otherwise, updates on Vegas, nothing new really. Both him and Hash are my longest living reptiles in the collection. Again, they're both going to be 13 in the fall. And the fact that they've had 0 health issues just makes me feel incredibly happy because it means my care is on point and that they are thriving in their habitats. Next up on the reptile room tour has to be one of my personal favorites. This would be Zilla, the Argentine black and white Tegu. She is doing amazing. The biggest update with her would just have to be how big she has gotten. in the past 2 months, I would say, she's had 2 tremendous growth spurts. And she's shedding like crazy. It almost seems that she's more of a dog than a lizard with the amount of shed skin that just goes right off her. I find it everywhere inside her enclosure. It's ridiculous. In terms of her habitat size, it's the same. I'm still letting her grow out in this 6x2x16. I believe it's by Herp Cages. Picked it up at NARBC March 2017, and she's been loving it. Gives her plenty of room to roam around. So yeah, she has a lot to do. She's growing big. She eats like a champ. The one thing I will have to say that I find interesting about feeding her is she actually recognizes when I have the plate of food in my hand. It's really incredible. I can reach in there with a bare hand any day and she won't acknowledge it. Maybe she'll come around and sniff me just to see what's up. But as soon as I enter the room with that plate, if she sees me holding that little gray dish, she goes crazy wanting to get the scoop of meat or canned food that I offer her. She really just goes crazy for it. And it really is funny to see her differentiate my hand between a food bowl. Most lizards aren't that smart, and Tegu's being one of the smartest species in the world, I have to say it's incredibly rewarding. So that's the update on Zilla. She's probably my favorite reptile in the collection, honestly. Next to Hash, my first corn snake who started it all, because her intelligence just cannot be rivaled. She is literally a dog in the world of lizards. Next on my reptile room tour will include my snake rack. Now, some people don't like keeping snakes in racks, some people do. I'm primarily using this just to grow out young snakes before they're upgraded into terrariums. However, I have 3 snakes in this rack at the moment. I have my 2 rough-scaled Samboas and my young Sunglow albino corn snake Chilli. Now, the rough-scaled Samboas are definitely a favorite of mine. They like to burrow. They really just do nothing. Why are they a favorite of mine? I mean, they're cool, but, like, they burrow, and they burrow, and they eat, and they burrow more. Okay, so they might not be a true favorite of mine, but I definitely think they're pretty cool for what they are. Otherwise, they're eating frozen fuzzy mice every 5 days for me right now. They're about ready to be upgraded to hopper mice, but updates on them, they burrow. On to our next snake, we have Chilli, the Sunglow albino corn snake. And so, Chilli I've had for a while, since he was a really tiny little baby, actually. If you go way back onto the channel, when I actually got him, he was living in a critter keeper with a heat pad, so he's a tiny little guy. But honestly, he's growing like a champ. He's slamming hopper mice once a week, and he's probably one of the tamest corn snakes I've got. His setup is fairly simple, but yet elaborate. Hiding spot, a water bowl, and then as you can see in there, I also offer a piece of driftwood for him to rub his head on when he goes into shed. For substrate, with both the corn snake Chilli and the rough-scaled Samboas, I'm using aspen. It's dry, it's burrowable, super easy for both species. And honestly, that's the snakes that I've got in the snake rack. They're all doing really well, and yeah, on to the next animal. Moving on from the snake rack, we can go straight into Jazz the Crested Gecko. So, this is a reptile that really has never had any updates. It's not a bad thing, you know, she's healthy, she eats, she does everything a Crested Gecko should be. It's just there's no big need for updates on her. Right now, she's currently residing in this 12x12x18 Exoterra still. She is about due for an upgrade soon with her growth rate. However, she calls it home, she eats, sleeps, she poops, she does everything, well, a Crested Gecko should be doing. In terms of feeding her though, she gets a mixed variety of Pangea Crested Gecko diet. She gets everything from the banana and apricot flavor to the papaya mixes. Really, every flavor they offer, she gets fed. There really is no night of feeding that she gets the same flavor twice in a week. So she definitely has quite a varied diet, but other than that, that's a really quick update on Jazz. Simply put, she's a reptile that has low maintenance and still thrives really well, which it's a win-win for both of us. So, post-surgery, we have Rocky the Bearded Dragon. And as you guys recall from my last reptile room, he was not doing too hot. In fact, it was later in the month of August that we had originally found a lump growing on his jaw. He was taken to the vet. He had it surgically removed. He did absolutely perfect post-surgery, and thankfully, nothing much has changed with him. He's still in the same setup. He's got a 40-gallon breeder with an awesome Zilla Pro Soul with a built-in timer. For people who own bearded dragons, I cannot recommend these fixtures enough. They were practically designed for them, and thank you to Zilla for manufacturing them because they're awesome. You can't get enough out of a Pro Soul fixture. truly one of the best latest light fixtures in terms of reptile technology. His setup is still the same. He has a nice hot basking spot of around 120. People don't give me crap about keeping him on a loose substrate. The Australians do it. They keep theirs on pure sand. I do a sand dirt mixture. It works just fine. So please don't give me crap about it. He likes to dig in it. He eats out of a dish, so there's no worry about impaction. And if he licks up a little bit of his substrate wandering around, he's passing stool perfectly fine. So please don't even start on it, because I don't want to hear it. If you comment below about it, I'm just going to remove it, because I'm not going to waste my time with your ignorance. So that's Rocky, the bearded dragon. He's thriving, he's living, he's doing everything a healthy bearded dragon should be. And yeah, that's him. So lastly on the reptile room tour, probably some of the most anticipated animals are my pair of Chinese water dragons, Ozzie and Harriet. The Chinese water dragons are definitely a really fan favorite on the channel. Harriet has done so many videos in terms of education on their care, because unfortunately there is not a lot of information out there on water dragons. In fact, there's so little information out there that sadly many of them die due to improper care, and personally that's why I don't think they're good pets at all. So if you're watching this video and you see the water dragons and you want to learn more about them and why I personally think they are a horrible pet lizard to start out with at least, click the card right here and I'll explain all the cons to keeping them, as well as some pros, but well, face it, it's mostly cons when you're dealing with a wild-caught lizard, and that's what Ozzie and Harriet are. Updates on them though, they're still living large in their habitat. Right now, being January, it's sort of the cool season, so they're eating maybe every 4 days, and they tend to just spend most of their time in their own corners chilling. The Chinese water dragons don't brumate, but due to them sensing the drop in barometric pressure as the seasons change, they do slow down for a couple months of the year, which, me being in the Midwest, specifically Chicago, during our winter time is when that is for them. They're doing great. They're eating insects whenever they get the option to. And in terms of having them together, I actually have had more babies hatch since my hatchling video that I released a while back. So currently I have produced 15 babies. I've already sent 8 of them to North Carolina. So if you're interested in buying some captive bred babies, and I will question you on whether or not you've done your research, because I'm not just going to send them to anybody, feel free to send a message to any of the social media pages down below. I can ship to the 48 continuous United States, and we can discuss pricing individually. So overall, that is Ozzie and Harriet. I'm not going to do an update on the babies in this video because I'm going to save that for a totally different baby update video. But if you want to see my first video of when the babies did hatch and how that came to be, click the card right here. And until then, guys, that is my update on the Chinese water dragons, Ozzie and Harriet. So overall, guys, that is the reptile room for January. It took me a while to put this together. I had to actually recollect some of the updates with the animals that had happened over the past few months. So it was definitely sort of fun to go back and try and check my records on everything that has happened. If you can't tell by the video, everybody is doing great. I'm really excited with the way the reptile room is coming together. I may not have the largest collection on YouTube, but I like to say I have a pretty damn unique one. So without further ado, I'm Alex, the Snake Dude 1814. If you liked the video, leave a like, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And until then, I will see y'all in the next video. Adios.